Hello, everybody. All right, while I get this up to presentation mode, I want everybody to stretch their arms, okay? Just do a big stretch to get your blood flowing again, because what I have to offer is good stuff and I don't want you to be bored. So, all right, let's see, all right. So how to connect with non-tech members is the name of my presentation. And I would like to say that this is a new topic, and that I am Lorraine Martinez. I am your State Membership Recruitment and Resources Committee Chair. I spelled that out because we have so many acronyms that some people forget what exactly it means. So there you go. So isn't it ironic a little bit that technology is being used to talk about how to reach members who are not using it for whatever reason? I just thought that was a little ironic and I had a little chuckle with that. So why is this a topic today? Because a member in Area 2 sent a letter to the division president. In the letter, the question was asked, are we overly dependent on technology communication? They pointed out that on the first page of a recent newsletter, there were 15 references to links or to a website. But how does this help members who do not use technology? How does this help members who do not use technology? Well, it doesn't. So what now? So a conversation was held via Zoom with two of the division presidents in Area 2, the Area 2 director, Sue Breyer, myself, and we had a conversation. We came up with possible reasons that people weren't using the internet, such as costs, inconsistency, they don't have a computer, a tablet, or a smartphone. And Area 2 has a lot of rural areas. So this is definitely a possibility of inconsistency of not having the internet. They're not interested in using the internet or emails for various reasons. So a decision was made to send the members of the division who did not have an email address a survey. The survey was mailed along with a stamped address envelope to send the results back. The introduction was important because it acknowledged that these members do not use the internet. So Calrta and your local division are acutely aware, and I love the word acutely, that those of you who do not have or do not use the internet do not have access to the same amount of information that those with internet service enjoy. They know that approximately 45% of their membership do not have an email address. That's almost half. So the survey questions were simple. Number one, what ways would you like Calrta to communicate with you? They ranked their choices: mail, phone call, text message, voicemail, or other. Number two, this is interesting. We chatted about this as a group, and we thought, could it possibly have a hotline, have a number that was available to members who to call and get information? But in reality, it's not really a possibility. So that question was one we put in, but it's not going to happen. Number three, we wanted to know why they didn't have an email address. So we asked them to check everyone that applied to their situation. And if you notice D, I've been hacked before and no longer use it, it's very important and it's pertinent to some members. 4, if you have a cell phone, would you be open to receiving texts, perhaps about actions that you could take to support Calrta? And 5, any other comments or information you would like us to have. So the division president had a list of 142 names, mailed 136 surveys, because of course there are married couples. By August 1st, 59 had been returned, and they broke into these categories. 5 were returned, bad address or couldn't be forwarded, 4 had passed away, and 49 were just people who did respond. The great thing was the president got 5 new email addresses and cell phone numbers. There were 4 emails that were unusable, And some of the surveys were completely filled out, but in general, those who did fill them out wanted snail mail, as we say, communication. And many of them expressed appreciation of the division newsletter. They gave the president a lot of kudos for the newsletter. They thought it was well done and shared a lot of information. It was decided to use all of Area 2 for a pilot program. All the divisions are going to send out the survey to members who do not have email. The results will be available in October, so a report to the board will happen at the next board meeting, which could possibly be in November. A committee, again, consists of 2 division presidents, the Area 2 director, our communications technology chair, Sue Breyer, myself, and we're going to oversee the program. And so the goal is to come up with ways to keep these members in the loop of all the communication that is sent out from division, the area, and the state. So do you personally know how many of your division members do not have an email? Do you know what percentage of your division makes up this group? Do you know that? Statewide numbers. Johanna shared this with me. As of August 30th, 18,856 have email, but look at the number of members who do not. 16,178. Almost half do not have a current email address. So what does this mean for these non-tech members? It means that they're receiving the Contact magazine, like we all do, 4 times a year, and the division newsletter via mail, possibly because not all divisions are mailing out a newsletter to members. I think most of the 90, we are, but there's possibly some that don't. That's all they are getting. Think about how much information you are getting via emails, constant contacts, etc. So they're not receiving any constant contact from the division or state office. They're not receiving articles or links to site available on the website. They're not even accessing our website. They're not receiving ledge updates or any other information that is only delivered via email. That's a lot of information that they are not receiving. Now, I have to agree, if some of you are saying, oh, they're older members and maybe in assisted living, etc., that's true, but we cannot use that as an excuse for them not receiving information. So why aren't they using technology? They don't own a computer, they don't own a tablet, they don't own a smartphone. They have expensive, unstable, and spotty internet service. And I know some of this is duplicated, but it's kind of to make the point sink in. They've been hacked and they've been advised not to use their email, but they're longtime members of this association, this organization, and still want to be part of it. So let's not forget about these members. They rely on hard copy, newsletters, notes, postcards, phone calls, and personal visits to maintain connection. Would it be possible to periodically snail mail your e-blast to keep them in the loop? How about establishing a personal connections committee focused on connecting with non-tech members? These are thoughts that Sue Breyer, our wonderful CTC chair, shared in one of her newsletters. So this is directly from her. Could your division establish a postcard campaign at each of your luncheons where each of your attendees writes a note to somebody who couldn't or can't attend? Perhaps you can adjust your snail mail newsletter by removing all hyperlinks and references to outside websites. Just a thought. What do your division's non-tech members need to feel valued and validated? They are paying dues just like those members who use technology. Remember, our job is to keep the lines of communication open to everybody. So what can your division do now? Many of these members have been a part of our organization again for many, many years. Have a full newsletter article that might be shortened with a link because it is long. Edit it so it'll fit. So the member does not have to worry about a link and they can't read the full article. Make an effort to include these people in your newsletters or contact them via phone call, note card, postcard, or stop by with a small gift. I've said this before when COVID was happening. If members of your division have a garden full of tomatoes, have fruit trees, baked little things of zucchini bread, did different things that they could stop by and drop off on somebody's porch, or if the assisted living place allowed gifts to come in. What about going to Costco and buying a big bunch of daisies, those colorful ones, cutting them off, putting them in a little mason jar with a bow and dropping that off? When members receive things that are personal, many of them write back and tell you how appreciative they are of this note or postcard or small gift. It's not difficult to do. It takes a little bit of time, but if you just organized it, I think it would be very well received. I know some divisions are bringing note cards or postcards to either their luncheons or their board meetings, and they're filling them out with a personal note, and they're going to be sent to these members who do not use technology. Finally, invite them to be honored guests at one of your luncheons. We do have groups that honor their members, who have been involved for long periods of time. They get to eat for free, or they get to have a discount, and they're recognized for years as members of Calrta. We just had 56 people, Division 39, that we sent cards to, inviting them to be our guests at our December luncheon. I don't know how many will respond, but because some of these members have been involved for 38 years. Holy shimolies, that's a lot. Other thoughts. Be imaginative. Think like the non-tech member. We all remember what it was like before technology came on, right? So it comes down to communication, to reading people and sending the message at the right level. Divisions, you need to become imaginative and adapt how we communicate. What chimes with one person will not chime with another. We cannot be all things to all people, but we can adapt the message to ensure we don't leave anyone behind. We don't leave anyone behind. Another useful skill is to think about getting into the shoes of that member and what matters to them. What simple question might lead them or you to naturally into other topics? And even if they're in assisted living homes or they're in, full assistance homes, often their relatives read the newsletters to them or share the information. So I know that divisions have heard back from members' relatives about that. So follow these, and you might just keep those non-techies on board, because the division that started this whole this whole discussion, the person said, should I really belong to Calrta if you're not doing things or sending information that is relevant to me? So prepare properly for the people your division wants to contact. Don't assume they don't have internet because they don't want it. They may not be able to afford it. It may be spotty. In your newsletter, minimize the use of technical terms and acronyms. They don't know these. I don't even know them all. Think ahead to potential questions. In many newsletters, divisions honor people by putting an article about them and their life and when they taught, and those are very special. Care about impact, not process. Be concise, be adaptable, have a goal and strategic plan. If you have a group committed to this and their only responsibility is to figure out ways to contact these people, in my opinion, it's fun. So what ideas have this Area 2 focus group thought of without creating a ton of work? It was brought up that, and I know many of your divisions have this situation where do we get people to do this? People aren't stepping up for things. And during COVID, of course, it's been extremely difficult to meet in person. So could one idea be that the division prints out the monthly reports, the monthly newsletter articles from the 3 state committees and mail those out? Could somebody write up a summary of what is happening in the state committees and send out in the newsletter? The summary coming from your area reps for each of those 3 committees. The third one is probably not a viable option, but it was just brought up. Could the state office print out and mail the statewide newsletter? This would get enough mail for bulk mail rates. But find out what information these members are most interested in receiving, and that could be a question on the survey. The other idea was if your division does not have enough enough members to use bulk mail, what if the whole area sent to one printer the labels or the information for the members that this has to be mailed to, and then a printer goes ahead and creates the newsletter and puts the labels on them and sends them off. And each division would be charged for however many members' names and addresses they sent to the printer. That could be, and then it'd be bulk mail. So I brought this up because right now we know there's a lot of members affected by fire, either in the past or what's happening right now. I think it's really important to send some kind of card or postcard to them, thinking of you, to send positive thoughts. I know for a fact that the post office holds the mail for people whose homes are lost or who have been evacuated. And they hold it, and then they'll get it to those people through a process. We know that living with the orange skies and the terrible smoke can limit what we can do outside of our homes. We can't get together. We can't. It's so stressful. It's so stressful to be in that situation. Even if your home is not in danger at the moment, those orange skies and smoke is awful. And a positive card can bring a smile to somebody's face. If a member has lost their home or an animal, the card is a small token of acknowledgement and sincerity that we are thinking about them. And in the future, later on, when this is all over, if the members who were involved in this, or if you want to get a group of members together to meet at some point, to share their stories or just visit at a coffee shop or a park, that's just an idea. These are just some ideas. Division 39 in Sonoma County has had 3 fires, and one thing we did was we targeted our over 55 community that lived in a structured area, and we sent cards to every single one of those, and they were grateful. They were grateful to receive it, to know that they were being thought of by someone other than their neighbors or their family. Coming soon. This is so exciting. I'm just bringing this as a general announcement because I have you all here. A membership recruitment and resource committee has updated the resource handbook. It's a book. It does have a lot of links to websites in the handbook. However, there are pages that can be duplicated and sent to your non-tech members to have on hand as reference. This handbook will be presented to the state board at our meeting on Monday. If approved, a decision will be made how to best distribute this handbook. The question was and will be, should it be printed and each division receive 1 or 2 copies, or should it just be sent via email and the divisions can print it out? You can check with your area rep for this committee and find out for the MRRC committee and find out how it will be distributed, and your area reps will have that information too. So I always like to leave on a positive thought, and these characters in this little cartoon to me represent our divisions when we can finally meet, because it'll be a joyous time. So attempting to reach all the members in your division will only make your division stronger. It'll only make it stronger. And I want to tell you one last point. How great would it be to, when you recruiting retirees and you have a function, wine tasting, coffee, whatever, they attend, and you tell them that you have members who have been involved for 38 years, 40 years, whatever it is, and what you are doing to keep in contact with these members. To know that for these retirees to know that Calrta will be in contact, will communicate with them regardless of how long they have been in the organization. They will not be ignored. They will always be acknowledged. How fabulous is that for a selling point? And that, my friends, is the end of my presentation.